Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to start our look at Return to Ravnica, which was a really fun set, so really looking forward to the next 15 videos. We're going to start off by looking at Azorius Advance, which is the white-blue deck, as you might guess. So I guess before we dive into it, I'll just explain how the intro packs were arranged in Return to Ravnica block, because I said 15, you'd be like, oh, but there's only 10 guilds. And what we did the first time we were at Ravnica, what happened was the first city of guilds had 4 sets, had Boros, Golgari, Dimir, and Selesnya, and then the next 2 sets after that only had 3 decks each. So each guild essentially only got 1 deck. What happens in Return to Ravnica block is that Return to Ravnica has 5 decks. It represents 5 guilds, and then Gatecrash represents the other 5. And then for Dragon's Maze, it does sort of a mix of just picks basically 5 kind of not at random, but so the colors are equally represented. So some guilds get 2 decks during this block. So that's the thing. That's why there's actually 15 decks, despite there being 10 guilds. So there we go. That was a small aside there. Anyway, let's dive in. Start looking at Azorius Advance. So we got 23 creatures, 5 instants, 3 enchantments, 1 sorcery, 3 artifacts, and 25 land. Mana curve off to the side there. And yeah, let's just start having a look at the cards. So the foil face rare is Archon of the Triumvirate. So 5, 1 white, 1 blue for a 4/5 flyer. So kind of expensive, but has an ability. Whenever it attacks, you detain up to 2 target non-land permanents your opponent's control. So Return to Ravnica, all the guilds got new keywords, which is nice, keeps it kind of fresh and interesting. So Azorius this turn round got detain, which I mean right off the bat is a lot better than their old forecast ability, which was kind of clunky to use. This actually does something. It has an impact on the board, and you don't have to kind of awkwardly play around with cards in hand and stuff. And anyway, so what detain is, it's basically a rest for 1 turn, which is very flavorful and very fitting for the Azorius. So a detained permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So you essentially arrest them for 1 turn. And most things only detain creatures, but Archon of the Triumvirate can do it to non-land permanents, so it can do artifacts and enchantments as well, which is pretty cool. Aside from that, it's just like a big flyer, but when it attacks, it can obviously detain anything that could block it, so it can get through. So yeah, this is like a pretty good sort of finisher for the deck, I think. And it can really keep snowballing. Like, you got a lot of other sort of detain effects in the deck, so you could really just kind of lock an opponent's board down, kind of stop them attacking and blocking or really using anything. So yeah, I think it's pretty good as a rare. We have 2 Azorius Arrester, so 1 white for a 2/1. When it ends the battlefield, you detain a creature. Yep, so this is kind of the bog standard one. Has detain. Yep, absolutely fine. Just comes in, detain something, and then it's a 2/1. And then Azorius Justicar is basically grown up Azorius Arrester. 2 and 2 white for a 2/2. When it ends the battlefield, you detain up to 2 creatures. So yeah, absolutely fine. So yeah, these are pretty cool. I like these this kind of vertical cycle of creatures that detain things. And then we have a Liev Sky Knight, so 1 white and a blue for a 3/1 flyer. When it ends the battlefield, you detain non-land permanents. So like the Archon, it can detain enchantments and artifacts, which is extra good bit of utility, I think. Right, so we have the new guild mages. So in original Ravnica, these guild mages were hybrid mana, and were in fact the first cards to use hybrid mana. So in Return to Ravnica block, they're all now properly multicolored, as in they need 2 mana of 2 different colors. And whereas in original Ravnica, their abilities were sort of monocolored. So for example, the Boros Guild Mage had an ability that needed white mana and an ability that needed red mana. These guild mages have abilities that require mana of both colors. So it's an interesting kind of twist on the design. So new Path Guild Mage, 1 white and 1 blue for a 2/2. First ability is 1 white and a blue to give a creature flying till end turn, which is okay. You've actually already got a lot of flying creatures in the deck already, but like doesn't hurt to, send other stuff you've got into the air. And you can pay 3, a white and a blue, to detain a non-land permanent. So yeah, again, just a repeatable source of detaining is pretty good. So yeah, I quite like this as the Guild Mage for Azorius. A single Soul Sworn Spirit, so 3 and a blue for a 2/1 unblockable, Mr. Noodle Hands here. When he ends the battlefield, you detain a creature an opponent controls. So yeah, there's a theme here of detaining things, you may have noticed. But because we're white-blue, we've also got to have some flyers, white-blue skies. It's a classic. So we have 2 Concordia Pegasus, 1 and a white for a 1/3 with flyer. Yep, this is perfectly fine. Obsoleting Stormcrow, when it was released, because it's obviously better stats for the same cost. A single Skyline Predator, 4 and 2 blue for a 3/4 with flash and flying. Yeah, it's just just a big okay flyer, so like surprise blocker if necessary. Yeah, it's okay. And then 2 Vassal Souls, so 1 and 2 hybrid white blue for a 2/2 flyer. So there's I guess there was a cycle of these at common. Like every guild had a kind of like they did in the original Ravnica, like a hybrid common creature, and then I think they had a hybrid spell or creature as well, and then a rare hybrid card as well. So that was that kind of vertical cycle here. But yeah, this is fine. I mean, it's obviously just like Windrake that is pretty reliable to cast in a 2-color deck. And then 2 Bizarre Krovod, so 4 and a white for a 2/5. Whenever it attacks, another target attacking creature gets +0/+2 to turn, untap that creature. So, a bit of a weird inclusion, I feel, honestly. The effect is, I guess, okay to give the toughness boost and untap something. So it's like then ready to block next turn, I suppose, or it can survive, being blocked. But yeah, it just feels like a bit of a weird choice to include in here. Like, it's not terrible, I guess. Because it's an okay effect, but I don't know. But then you're attacking just with like a 2/5, I suppose. It can't target itself with this ability. It's okay. I definitely feel it was a better choice. But this is all right, I think. And then 2 Trained Caracal, 1 white man just for a 1/1 with lifelink. Yeah, this is just very straightforward. Yep, it's fine. And 2 Stealer of Secrets, 2 and a blue for a 2/2. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Fairly high chance of this getting through, as you've got like all the detain effects that can stop stuff blocking, so this could kind of sneak through and get the damage in and draw the cards. Yep, so this would be okay. And then a bit of M13 filler, unfortunately. So 2 Battlefight Eagles, 4 and a white for a 2/2 flyer. When it ends the battlefield, another creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying till end turn. So this is, this is fine, I suppose, as an effect. And then really sort of disappointingly, 3 Silvercoat Lions, so 1 white just for a 2/2. Yeah, it's just kind of disappointing to see it. Like, there were better cards in block that this could have been, and just kind of, I don't know, been a bit more exciting. But I mean, it's still technically serviceable. It's just, just obviously, we can do better. So moving on to non-creature spells, so we've got 2 Arrest, very fittingly for Azorius. So yeah, Arrest is it's basically super passivism. It's 2 and a white, goes on a creature, and it can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated, which is pretty fun. So the other end of the deck is Righteous Authority. So 3, a white and a blue for an aura goes on a creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for every card in the controller's hand. At the beginning of the draw step of the enchanted creature's controller, that player draws an additional card. So yeah, just this is fairly good, I think, to play late game when you're maybe like running out of gas a little bit, because for white blue, there's actually not sort of a lot of card draw in this. So this is something just to help you late game and stuff when you're starting to maybe like run out of fuel a little bit. You can just keep drawing extra cards, and whatever you've put this on is going to get a boost for the cards in your hand. So yeah, this is okay. I think this is all right. So we have a single inaction injunction. So 1 and a blue for a sorcery. You detain a creature and you draw a card. Yep, this is fine. Kind of wish there'd been more than one of this. Like maybe sub out at least like 1 Silvercoat Lion for another one of these. Just have more detain stuff. A single Dramatic Rescue. 1 white and a blue instant. It's basically unsummon, but you get 2 life from it as well. So this is obviously, good, you can use it on opponent's creatures, but you've got quite a few enter the battlefield effects, like you've got all your stuff that detains when it enters the battlefield, so this is, something you could use on that to help them dodge removal, or if you just need to play it again and get another detain trigger off, that would be okay. A single Swift Justice, 1 white mana, until end turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike and lifelink. This is actually, like, I think a pretty good combat trick just for 1 white mana, to give first strike and lifelink and +1/+0 at instant speed for a single mana. I think is actually, that's like a pretty strong combat trick, honestly. Just giving first strike at instant speed can be like, can really tip a combat phase. So giving like lifelink as well is, this is really good. I think this is a really solid little combat trick. A single Angel's Mercy, this is just not very good. 2 and 2 white just to gain 7 life. It's just, obviously not wonderful. And then 2 Show of Valor, so 1 and a white to give a creature +2/+4 until end of turn. So this is okay. This is okay. This perfectly fine buff spell. And then we have 2 Azorius Key Runes. So I think all the decks have a Key Rune in them, and this was like a really fun little cycle. So it's 3 mana. It's basically like a mana rock for the guild, so it adds 1 mana of either of the guild's colours, so in this case either white or blue. And all the Key Runes have an ability where if you pay mana, they animate and become an artifact creature, which is pretty cool. So the Azorius Key Rune, you pay 1 white and blue, and it becomes a 2/2 bird until end of turn, which is pretty cool. Just get an extra creature out there. I like these Key Runes. I think they're all pretty cool, honestly. And then we have a single Tablet of the Guilds, 2 mana. This is kind of like a custom Lucky Charm, like stuff like Angel's Feather and Kraken's Eye and stuff. So as it enters the battlefield, you choose 2 colors. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's at least one of the chosen colors, you gain 1 life for each of the chosen colors it is. So if you choose white and blue and you play a spell that's white and blue, you would get 2 life. So this is okay. It's kind of a cute little dirtly, life gain artifact, and it's just going to sit there very innocently, and no one's going to pay attention to it until they suddenly realize you've gained like 15 life of it over the course of the game or something. It's okay. And then we have a single Azorius Guild Gate. So this is where we first start when we get gates for the first time. And these, I think, caused a bit, not a stir exactly, but they were a non-basic land at common that gave you mana of 2 colors. And up until I think, I'm going to be probably completely wrong on this, but I think the last time, these are functionally identical to the really old tap lands from Invasion, which came in tapped and gave you 1 of 2 colors, but they are uncommon. These being common, which is obviously right for them. It's obviously important to have kind of mana fixing, and coming into play tapped is absolutely fine. And then they have the extra functionality of the gate subtype, which is going to become important in the future sets, because there's a few cards that care about gates. This was okay. I do wish there was more than 1 though. There definitely, I think, should have been at least 2 in here, I think, just to show them off. And then 12 plains and 12 islands. So what could have been? So overall, I think card selection in here is okay. I think the Bizarre Krovod stands out to me as being like a bit weird. Why I would have done, instead of the Bizarre Krovod, I think I would have probably had 1 Skymark Rock. So this is 2 white and a blue for a 3/3 fly. So it's blue-white skies, and whenever it attacks you, return a creature with power 2 or less back to owner's hand, which is pretty strong. You just bounce small creatures over and over again. So like, it's plays with tempo and stuff. And also Azorius Charm. I don't think any of these decks that I can remember at least have their charm in them, which is a shame, because like charms are super popular. Like the community likes charms, and then when you have like a set all about factions like Ravnica is, like, yes, absolutely give all the factions a charm, because that's like a really nice overlap of people like factions, people like guilds, and also people like charms. Stick them together, and I think this set the precedent for like all kind of faction sets going forward, that factions were going to get their charms. Like, Capenna, they were all going to get their charms, and Tarkir, they were all going to get their charms. So Azorius Charm, 1 white, 1 blue, you choose 1, all your creatures get lifelink till end turn, or you draw a card, or you put an attacking or blocking creature on top of owner's library. Like, the draw a card is probably actually honestly the weakest effect out of those. For 2 mana at instant speed, just to draw a card is pretty weak. But the other 2 effects, to give your whole board lifelink until end turn, is pretty strong. And like time ebbing an attacking or blocking creature is also like pretty strong. So definitely would have liked at least 1 Azorius Charm in here. And then maybe alternate rare. So we got the Archon of the Triumvirate and the Righteous Authority. And Righteous Authority is okay. Martial Law, I think, could have been pretty interesting. So 2 and 2 white. Basically, at the beginning of your upkeep, you get a free detain every turn, which is, again, yeah, it plays into the deck what wants to do, like kind of lock things down, arrest everything so it can't attack or block or threaten you basically, or stop your creatures. This does get used as a rare in like the in a deck in Dragon's Maze. So yeah, it does get used eventually, but like it would have been, I think it would have been better here, basically. So overall, yeah, I think this one is all right. Yeah, it's white blue, so it is my least favorite color combination. But I think it's like put together okay. I think Detain as mechanic is like pretty good for Azorius. Out of the 3 keywords Azorius have had, so what, like Forecast, this, and Addendum, I think this one is my favorite, just because it's like very flavorful to like just keep arresting your opponent's stuff. Just think it's very, very flavorful. So yeah, I think this one is all right. But if you have any stories, thoughts, comments, opinions about this deck or any of the cards in it, obviously stick a comment below. Always like reading people's comments. Yeah, and I'll be back next time to look at another Return to Ravnica intro pack. But until then, thanks for watching, listening, and have a great day.